Welcome to Ruined. It's a special live Zoom edition. I tried to figure out a way to top the last episode in which I actually spent money and got opening Star Wars credits. All I could think of, thank you. All I could think to do was think what fit into the theme of tonight's show, which is about bars. Our bar is ruined for us. So I started drinking a couple hours ago, and it's going to show. So my wife is not on tonight's episode for many reasons, one of them being the fact that I started drinking hours ago. With me, though, tonight is our own cooler, the greatest bouncer that I know, Chris Patrick.
Hello, what's up, guys?
Returning yet again after their amazing appearances before. So welcome back, Chris Marchetti and Mike Howells.
Hey, guys.
So I thought we'd kick it off with the reason I have, I don't know how it's going to look on our screen, but I'm going to point this way and that way. I hope it works. Those two is because I went to college with them, Patrick, and we've spent many times in many bars in the last 20 years together. So they can kind of walk me through whether or not going to a bar is ruined. I have you here to explain to us what we really looked like when we were at the bars. Because there's the Homer Simpson image of what it was like inside a bar, and I was like, there's no way that's what we really looked like. So I'd like to start off by telling one bizarre story. This story actually doesn't take place in Tampa. It takes place in Brooklyn. I was on tour with our friends, the Dukes of Hillsborough, and we went to Brooklyn, and they had a show at this bar, and we walked in, and they are a punk rock band. Would you say, gentlemen, they are a heavy punk rock band? Yeah. We walked into this bar, and the bar looked like something out of Frasier, and I was like, what is going to happen here? This is going to be, and it's in Brooklyn, and everyone there is it's like hipster times 400. And they're like, oh, no, you guys are playing downstairs. And I'm like, well, I know for a fact I walked in on street level. So downstairs is the basement. So you walk out of this probably $500,000 bar into a cellar where they set up, and it was just amazing. It was like just a rock cellar, and we're sitting there playing. They're having a great time. I wander up because some other band had come on. They're playing trivia. I sit down with all these hipsters. They start complaining about the music. I think I almost get arrested in Brooklyn because I might have been a little drunk and not slept for 4 days at that point. And I'm just like, you fuckers don't know goddamn good music? Like, luckily, the bartender took pity on me, and he was a cool guy. And he was like, no, don't worry. We're not going to do anything. We're not going to stop him. But it's kind of weird, that dynamic of just odd bars that you kind of go to sometimes. Can you guys think of any bars that you had to go to where you're like, okay, this is not my clientele, but you were stuck there for any reasons?
I got one. Oh, me? Go ahead. Okay.
Yeah.
I think possibly 2 out of the 3 of you guys might have been here with me. We went to a local establishment, not in the best part of town, for somebody's bachelor party, and I believe it was either the bartender or somebody that's frequently been there said, make sure you do not order anything that doesn't come in a bottle. And they said, and I found that was very weird, and we were stuck there for most of the night, and there was just some weird things going on in front of us and behind the scenes, and I think 2 of you were there.
I think wasn't that a place that their VIP lounge was those lattices you buy at like Lowe's?
Yes. Yes.
3 lawn chairs on the side of the building.
I think that's probably one of the weirdest, most uncomfortable places I've been in a while. Yeah.
The VIP room was like they went to Lowe's, they put the lattices up like this, and they built it around, but it's inside, and they had lawn chairs.
Yep.
And I don't think I can state on the record, I did not leave my bar stool. I stayed like this.
And I probably was standing right behind you the
Right
whole
next to
time.
me.
Yeah.
Oh, those are wild. Mike, you got any?
When my cousin and I went to, I've only been out of the country one time, and we went to Ireland, and the bars in there were great people and all of that, but you just, as far as like being out of your element, it was it was just kind of interesting to like go to like a bar in another country, and it's like here, you know, a lot of the bars we go to, it's rowdy, it's singles looking for other singles, and you know, looking for that kind of stuff. And in so many of these places in Ireland, it's like I mean, like an elderly couple sitting right next to some 20-year-olds and sitting right next to another elderly, like literally the entire community would like sit down at like their bar. And like my cousin and I are like, we don't do this in America. That's just kind of how it was there. So it wasn't like a bad experience, but as far as like just being like, this is unique, and like many different places over there we went, and it wasn't just this town or that town, it was all over the place. Now you could go to certain bars where, okay, the old folks don't go to this place, there's live music and all that stuff, but any of those like normal, all right, get your pint here, get something to eat there, the whole community drinks and hangs out there.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, Mike. That it really does sometimes go with like not even bad clientele, but like what am I doing? Like I feel guilty because I want to sit here and I'd like to do 4 Boilermakers, please. Oh, hey, there's my 3rd grade teacher. Patrick, so as far as the places that you worked, did you ever find that? What were your most issues that you had when you were working at a bar?
It varied. One thing, ironically, like I did everything from metal shows to reggae. Ironically, I had more fights and breakups during reggae shows, which is supposed to be all peace and love. Metal shows were great. It was getting everybody else acclimated to it because I love that kind of music, and they're helping each other out of the mosh pits. Somebody gets bloodied up, take them outside, help them out. But most issues, it's over dumb stuff. Or they brought some kind of a drama in there with them, and of course the alcohol. I mean, we all know it just magnified it. But it could be the dumb, like what happened? He stepped on my shoe.
Yeah.
So you broke a bottle over his head because of yeah, it's my new shoes. You know, that kind of. It was never anything like world changing, or you know, they weren't talking about curing cancer or something. It was always something else, just minuscule.
Well, I remember. I mean, I think you know, Patrick, you are a pretty sober guy. Like you don't really go out and drink as much as the rest of us. But I don't want to speak for. Yeah, no, Michael. I could speak for us. I mean, I don't think the 3 of us have had many issues in bars. I think we keep our wits about us, which has been one good thing about I think why we're still friends.
Our group was all about let's go, let's have a good time, you know, and we would, I mean, maybe every once in a while we weren't responsible, we'd get the DD going and all of that stuff, and nobody was like into fights or anything like that. We had one taller portly gentleman that got into it a little bit, not in the beginning, but as he progressed,
he got older. So you're supposed to wind down, winding up.
Yeah, but other than our beloved friend, no, we weren't. That was not our bag.
No, we never. And that was one of the things that really kind of, when people were saying, "Oh, you're still going to go do that," I said, "Well, yeah, I don't have that. I don't have that concern, because if I go with anybody on this podcast, and you know, even like Kevin, and you know, if I go with Laura." Actually, the only fight at a bar I've ever been in or been part of, I only was involved because I had to stop it from hitting Laura, was because of we were at a drag show down in Ybor, and this guy and a girl got into it, and
you were performing that night? Is that
I was
what you're trying to tell us?
No, I was. Let me tell you, the money that I saw go on that stage, Mike, I put a wig on me.
Sign me up.
Call me Shirley fucking Hempel. I don't care what you guys are gonna call me. I will jump on there There was cash. Laura goes, "Hey, can I have some money?" I go, "For what?" She goes, "Well, you got to throw it at him." I go, "No, you don't just." Okay, here's some money. Money's getting thrown everywhere. I'm like, it's blowing my mind. I will say this: the bouncers at that club were on top. We were packed in there, packed like sardines. And the only thing I did was I just stopped it from spilling over. I just kind of, me and another guy just were like, "Hey, let's make sure this one." It was like don't let the kid hit the floor, especially in that situation. Just kind of
Yeah,
everything away from everybody.
I had I had a situation where like there was it wasn't a part of our group, but it was a fight breaking out, and this is actually not a part of me, you, or Kevin, or I had met up with some high school friends up in Orlando, and there was a fight breaking out at a area right next to us, and it like escalated real quick.
Oh,
and the
yeah.
guy, and I remember like kind of eyeballing the one guy who I was like, this guy's gonna do something stupid, and sure enough, three guys here talking, three guys here, and he turns around to grab a bottle, and I like just put my hand on it, like, nope, you're not gonna do that, like we're not doing that, and then something else happened and the scuffle happened or whatnot. But yeah, I mean, stuff like that happens to everybody. But as far as like getting into a serious
I mean,
brawl,
no.
no.
I mean, I've considered us lucky, and especially with our friends, and so we don't have those guys who are just gearing up,
I also think that we just don't like the attention drawn to us either.
No.
It's just like we just rather just do our own thing and just be with the people that we know that we're going to hang out with. And I don't think any of us like the attention drawn to us really like be the focal point.
Oh, we found establishments that had good prices, that had music that we liked, that were ridiculous, that on the way home had 2 or 3 places that we liked to eat for cheap. So we had a little variety, and that was what, 4 or 5 years of going to college. I mean, that was it. Yeah. We didn't even talk about what we were doing on Thursday or Friday night because we already knew.
Yeah. And especially what was great too is we always had places to stay. Thank God I had you guys because I still lived at home. So I would go crash either at Chris's or at you, Mike's.
Hey, my apartment was like 3 blocks from Chris's. Sometimes I crashed at Chris's.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Fair, though, to Patrick, Mike's apartment, though, was like a death trap, though. It had these stairs that went up, but it had 0 railing. And he had
I would be staying at his, not staying there.
No railing. One night, we come home from sink or swim. He tells his girlfriend, now wife, go to bed. Shuns her off. She's trying to help him up the stairs. Hey, I'm going to hang out with the guys. He stops on the stairs and goes like this. I'm sitting, luckily, in a recliner, and I'm pushing him like that because he had a great Nintendo. He had an 8-bit Nintendo, so I was trying to play that and hit him like that the whole time.
That apartment was so classy.
Oh, God. And he had a couch that was like an 8-sectional, but it kept going on forever. How many sections was that? 12?
That was a weird couch, man, because it was like it was a square couch. It was my roommate's couch, and it was in a square form, but you could, because it was sectional, it was weird. Yeah.
Me and another large friend could sleep on it, and we were nowhere near each other. That's how big the couch was.
That's perfect.
But then he had all these mirrors up along the back, too. I woke up once at like 5 in the morning, like going to the bathroom or something. I swear to God, I thought somebody was in the house. I almost broke the mirror. Who's that asshole? But yeah, I mean, you brought up Orlando, and I always felt that we're spoiled here in Tampa because the Ybor and even Hyde Park, and also some of the other streets like Nebraska and things like that. I mean, as much as we rag on them and stuff, you know.
Channel 5 now too.
Like, what was it in Orlando? 2 they closed down or 1? What time did the bars close down in Orlando? 2 or 1?
I want to say 2 because I remember it being different than Tampa and Ybor because they closed at 3. But don't quote me on that.
And last call was 1.
I thought it was different.
Yeah.
You guys have happy hour here?
What?
Did you guys have happy hour here? Because in North Carolina, we weren't allowed to have it in North Carolina. You couldn't have it.
No, we had bars that had happy hour. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
We never
Patrick, you got to
understood that.
remember, this is Tampa. People start drinking at 9 a.m.
Well, that's the thing. We didn't understand. We could have made more money. In North Carolina was a lot stricter, especially with ALE. We had alcohol law enforcement, no happy hour. I mean, it was everybody had to be on their tippy toes around those guys because they'd want to pull your liquor license in a heartbeat. So,
You know, I think that's why, you know, and when we were up for a wedding up in Raleigh, and almost like looking for a place to go hang out, and just seemed like, you know, not that every place was the same, but there wasn't like as much variety as I find here. I mean, here especially when we were in college, was insane because we could go to an Irish place, a metal bar if we wanted to, a place hearing any kind of music we wanted, and then if for whatever ungodly reason we wanted to go to a club with loud music, we could go there too. But that was only to impress girls. Because the majority of the times, if we saw live music and our friends weren't in the band, whoop.
Yep.
We have a patio here? Good, let's go there. But I will say this, one of the craziest things here is St. Patty's Day. And because we used to go to a couple of the Irish bars. But I remember that. How many people, Chris, do you think were at the bar up in North Tampa that we would go to?
Like people that we knew, or just people
So
in
how
general?
many people do you think they packed in there?
Oh my gosh, I know the one you're talking about.
Probably a few thousand.
Yeah.
I mean, at least, because they had the outside seating, they had the inside, and if you tried to go inside, you couldn't even walk to go inside. And then they had the band outside and inside, and the outside was always packed too. I would say a couple thousand at least, or maybe more.
So Patrick, they had a couple thousand at this.
That was nuts.
At the time, Kevin and I lived together. We lived about 10 minutes away from it, right? So this is how we worked it every year. And I was working till about 5. Kevin would work till about, I would work till 6, and I think Kevin worked till 5:30, something like that. But Chris got off early. So Chris would go and like, it was like hold a placeholder, fighting people off.
Yeah, because I would also have Jason and Angelo there with me.
I was just gonna say, I remember Angelo being there.
Angelo and Jason.
I mean, it would be a spectacle that we would take half days off of work and get there, and then if it would fell on the time when it had March Madness, we had to get there for noon so we can watch tip off.
Yeah.
So I mean,
that place was crazy for March Madness.
Nuts. But the best year we had them secured. Chris called me. They're outside. This is before really text messaging, so we only had. I think I barely old cell phone. Chris goes, "We have the place. Perfect. Where's Mike? He's not here yet. We're called. Mike, get your ass. He's yelling at us. Shut the fuck up. I'm gonna take my time. Don't you worry. Mike, we're gonna leave your ass. You're not leaving me. Of course we didn't. So we get there, and I think it was one of the years that they had to shut down letting people in. Whereas me, Kevin, and Mike walked in, and I think we were like the last 5 grouping let in.
That was last year I went.
I
don't think I went after that year. That was like, it was just too much. It was too many.
That was brutal.
That was too many.
Brutal. And that had, and like they were saying, it had outdoor. It had 2 different outdoor seatings, and it had an indoor too, and you couldn't breathe and move. And I was like, I think you're right, Mike. I think that those years just said, I said, I'm done. I can't go anymore.
Yeah.
I don't think I've gone out on St. Patty's Day like that since. Kind of that.
I was just thinking like that might have been the last time that like I really like went out for St. Patty's Day, and that was a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's weird. Like now, to get me to an actual bar, I think that one of the times that I went to take Laura to that drag show, and Mike, you and I and my uncle were at the cigar bar. We were there on a Tuesday night though.
Yeah, which was nice too because like. Didn't have to wait for our drinks. Like, you know, it wasn't super crowded getting in or out, except for that hipster concert right next door or whatever the heck was going on there. But anyway.
I've never felt so old in my life. There was a
coin. I have no idea who they are, but they were lined up around the block like 3 times wrapped around, and I'm like, who the hell is Coin? Oh man.
Oh my God! And the average age waiting online had to be 17 years old.
Oh God.
Totally.
So I already said, wait a minute. So what you're telling me is I've never heard of this band, and I could have had any of those as my children waiting online.
Well, that's the kind of stuff that ruined it for me. I still can't do, no pun intended, like ruin, but crowds. I've always been like, if I'm at your house and we got everybody over for Royal Rumble or something, I'm fine. But like large crowds, like I did St. Patty's Day last year for the first time. We went down to the river or whatever, where they had all the water green. It was fun, but I'm always like over my shoulder. You got people drinking, you got the cops running around. Like something's gonna happen, and it just wasn't comfortable. Like so, when we left to go get something to eat, it was like the most exciting part for me. So it has done damage as far as me and crowds. I don't like them.
Yeah, and to be fair, I mean, to you, I mean, you worked in that environment. I mean, I know that we can say the rest of us here, we've probably worked jobs where it's not particularly easy to go back to jobs that you've worked in or environments like that. For you, I mean, is that part of it? Kind of seeing like, oh my God, this is what's going to happen at the bar, or is it that you just don't
somewhere like a laid back bar? Like I've been to a couple where I like the designs of bars still. I like going there. Like there's one where like he said like in Ireland, but like here, like it's a couple. Like in St. Augustine, I saw a couple. No problems. They may still have a doorman, but you're like, all right, I could go in there and chill with a glass of water, watch a game, or listen to the music and leave. But I cringe when I see like, because I did techno, I did the metals, whatever. I did everything. And it just kind of cringe. And like, how in the hell did I go in at 7, the techno clubs, we get out at 7 a.m. and then I'd go to school. I don't know how in the hell I did it. It kind of gives that pain, like why in the hell did I do that? It was fun then, but and my professors would let me come in staff shirts and my hat backwards. I'd work, do my stuff, and then leave early, like St. Patrick's Day or Halloween. They'd be like, get out of here. We know it's going to be hell for you tonight. Just go. I was like, thank you. So it was unique.
Yeah, but when you did the techno club, the average person in there had to weigh 75 pounds. So would you just yank them like that and throw them out?
That was the most disgusting because I had to get CPR started. We had people floundering from ODing. I had 3 guys OD one night almost, and they got to get their stomachs pumped. And they flounder on the ground like a fish when it would hit them, or they come by and they rub your shirt because of all the ecstasy. And they're like staff because our fabric on our shirts. And they would be in a trio, rubbing each other's shoulders, and there'd just be a chain gang of this. And I'm like, what the fuck did I do? What am I getting hired for here? And then you hear like the Matrix music going off and on, and I'm like, and then if you'd have that one guy take his shirt off, wanting to do those crazy fucking kung fu dances, and he'd hit somebody, and then there'd be a fight.
How bad did you just want to walk up and just nail him, right? Just one shot. Wham! That's all.
Well, the first night I ever worked as a bouncer, no one trusts you because you're new and I'm a rookie. And I had a guy from New York who was a veteran. He was like a little mini Wolverine. He's like, get out of here. So I was like, I've got to prove to him that I'm not going to be a pushover. So as soon as one guy started, I came across up under the neck, ran him outside the door, threw him out. I was like, he's fighting, he's out. And I was, the sad thing was I was trying to get the most throwouts over the night. And at the end of the night came when he said, good job. And we were friends. I was like, that's all I needed. But it was the weirdest. I mean, going down for CPR, there's shit coming out of their mouths. I'm trying to clear stuff out of their mouth. And that was I'd take the techno, not the techno, the reggae, because all that was weed smell. David Allan Coe wasn't fun, but, not to get on a winded comment, but, that was another story in itself. But the techno was the most.
Might have some other things going on in that crowd.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, when your bouncers come up and say, all right, we got the rap night. You got this guy. I was like, I'll do the talking tonight. You guys do the talking during the rap concerts, and you guys know what I'm talking about. They're like, we'll follow you. I was like, good job.
Oh my God. Yeah, the Coe. I wouldn't bounce the Coe concert. You'd have to triple pay for me to go there.
And they get testy during those. That's the one they want to test. That liquid courage. Like, thank you. I'm like, take me where to dinner? No, go away.
We were Laura and I were once looking for a place to eat, and we were outside of Crystal River, Florida, and we walked into a place, and on the sign it said no colors. This is neutral ground, and all the bikes were out there, and I just went.
I thought you said something else. I was like, dude.
No. They didn't. I don't think. I don't
I'm
think
leaving this podcast right now.
And by the way, I would have fallen into that category.
Good night, everybody. Bye.
I was last episode of Ruined.
No, I was in the craziest was I was in a convenience store in Georgia once, and I asked for something, and the guy behind me says, "We don't like your kind here." I swear to God, I looked around for a solid 2 minutes, like, wait, who the fuck is he talking about? I'm like, wait, me? Yeah, it's weird, man. There's some when you leave that Tampa Bay bubble and you enter in the real South, sometimes there's a couple spots where I'm like, okay, guys, the war's over. Not sure which war, but one of them is over. I will say that was one of the oddest bar experiences I ever had. That when I said like that was I've never seen that as a sign, like, you know, this is neutral ground, and it wasn't kidding around. They were serious. I do have one very bizarre bar story that we were in. My buddy Rob and I, he was living in England at the time, and I went over there, and I think I had told the story about how I was broke halfway through, and we went and played a poker game in a like an empty restaurant. You went down the stairs and you had to walk into a cage, and the cage shut behind you, and then the door opened up, and then you walked into the basement of this restaurant, and there was poker tables set up, and they tried to like decorate it like it was a casino. It was brilliant. I ended up winning like $400 or $500, and Rob won like $200-300. We hightailed it the fuck out of there because I'm like, I gotta get at it, because where you had to cash in, the cashier was a door that they obviously sawed across so that it swung like this. And I was like, can I have my money? So I got my money, and it was like $400, maybe like $800. I don't know. It was a lot of money. And we took a trip to Liverpool. It was awesome. Got to spend the day in spent a couple days in Liverpool, went on the Beatles tour, toured the Everton Stadium. But I was like, my buddy Rob doesn't drink, and I'm like, I gotta go have something. I gotta go have a whiskey or something. We found this bar. It was called the Australian Bar, which is already bizarre to find in Liverpool. But I'm like, it's open because it was in November, in the middle of November, like on a Wednesday. So things were like shut down. The guy says, "Oh, you're an American." I'm like, fuck, here we go. Yeah, like I can't hide it. There's no way I can hide it.
Yep, it's me.
Yep, it's me. I mean, I'm one step away from wearing, you know, the American flag jumpsuit, you know, like, don't tread on me. But I was like, yeah, I'm American. He started telling me the story about how he was stuck in America during 9/11. And this American couple gave him a ride. He was stuck in Chicago. Or no, he was in Tennessee, and he needed to get to Chicago. And he met these people from Maryland. They were like, oh, we'll drive you to Chicago. And they drove him to Chicago and then drove home. So now any American he meets, the first 3 rounds are on him.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
So I went to Rob. I said, order a goddamn drink. He goes, I don't want to drink. Order a drink! And then I said, don't open your mouth. Whatever you do, don't speak.
Don't
Rob,
ruin it
very
for
heavy
us.
English accent. You're American right now. If someone looks at you, pretend you're Robert De Niro in Goodfellas. Mike, I did try to explain to Laura the challenge that we got from that movie. Do you remember the Jimmy the Gent challenge? We were really drunk when we did it.
No.
Okay, so Patrick, there's a part in Goodfellas when Robert De Niro takes a shot and a sip of water.
I do remember that.
He takes full whiskey and goes like this, belts it down, and then takes water and goes like there's no water in his mouth. So Mike and I are completely wasted one night. Mike goes, we got to do the challenge. We're going to do the Jimmy the Gent challenge. You have to take a shot, and then you have to sip water. You can only go like, it was like we measured this is how bored we were. You have to measure like this. We took 3 consecutive shots to try to master it. I still think my throat is burning from that.
I remember what was the name of the like rock and roll zombie movie, the Japanese
Wild Zero.
Punk band Wild Zero. I remember their drinking game for that where it was like it was a crazy, like, insane zombie movie with like fire shooting out of random things, and of course zombie deaths and all that. And they had a drinking game as a part of the DVD cover.
Yeah, it was one of the options on the DVD thing. So we said we're gonna play it. We were in Kevin and Mike's apartment, and Mike's like, we got to do this. I'm like, okay. I was drinking rum and coke at the time. He was drinking whiskey.
I was about to say, like, I don't think we were doing shots of beer. I think that was the stupid part. Like, we were trying to do it with like shots of like whiskey or
Alcohol.
something like that.
And we were sitting there.
We got like 5 minutes into the movie, and it was like no, there was already like 6 shots that had to be done. We're like, this is
and
awesome.
then it would be like you have to continue drinking while a main character is combing their hair, and the guy would just go like this.
Yeah, because they're like greaser punks, so every 6th shot is them fixing their hair again. So
And then one thing the guy just kept doing it because the zombie was walking up or something. We're like, we're gonna die.
not happening. Yeah, that was a debacle.
I know that Chris was with me, and I think Kevin was with me. Talk about not drawing attention to ourselves. We were at a pub that has a thatched roof in Tampa one night, and we're sitting there, and I was drinking like my normal Crown, whatever was cheap, Jack or something, booze mixed with soda. And there was this party next to us, and there was a couple girls and a couple guys, and they were trying to make this poor girl like chug like this much of beer or something like this. And I finally like, I got to step in. I got to step in. And I go, listen, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to walk you through it. I'm going to take my drink and I'm going to chug it. And you just go the same pace and you'll be fine. Biggest mistake of my life. She chugged a beer. There was literally this much beer. I am just knocking this back the whole time. I finished the whole drink. It was like a double shot to this. And I'm like, why did I do that? I had no purpose doing that. I remember putting that down and thanking God that we had a ride home because I don't remember the rest of the night.
I vaguely remember what you're talking about. I think I was in the same car that I was getting a ride home with. I remember vaguely what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I remember like some nice person gave us a lift home.
Yeah, there's been many nights like that just I don't remember how I got there and how we got home. I just knew that neither one of us were behind a wheel. I know that.
No, yeah,
I got asked that a lot. There'd be like the next night or the next weekend. Hey, what's up, man? I was like, hey, how you doing? How did I get home? I was like, I don't know. And this was before Uber. I was you got home safely, I guess. You're back.
Yep.
No,
yeah, but
you can plan a night out so much easier these days with Uber. Like you can literally just go out like, oh, I'll meet you here. I'll go here. And you're just Ubering around the city. You might have to wait a little bit, but you just plan that out. But like, I think about that sometimes. Like, man, if we were like that age now, like
we would have psoriasis of the liver.
You ain't kidding, man. It would have been increased for sure. Yeah.
Because what would have happened, Mike, was we would have come up with stupid ideas like we always did, and we'd say things like this. I'm going to get a ride to work, so I'm going to come from work to wherever we are. So I'm going to start drinking at 5, and then I'm going to go, well, if we're meeting in Ybor, I know a place I can sit for an hour and a half. And then you would say, well, I'll just meet you there, because this is how all of our plans always happened.
Yep.
No, we would have. No, I guarantee you, it would have gotten to the point where the 3 or 4 or 5 of us would have been like, "Well, I don't want to go to your bar. I'm going to go to my bar, and then I'll just FaceTime you at your bar, and it's the same damn thing." Because we would all gotten to the point where we had hung out with each other so much that it's like, whatever, I'll just FaceTime you. I don't care.
Well, the greatest thing about the bars that when we were in our 20s, Patrick, no matter what, Chris knew every single special. Like he could map it out. He would go, no, you got to go here first, and here first. We got to be here by 9. Okay. And
I give credit for Jason and Angelo on that a lot too, because they knew exactly where to go, and then you got to do that. You got to plan out your night.
We stepped away from that because we didn't have to, because we found a place in downtown Ybor that had some gigantic steps to it, where we were the only people in there. I mean, quite literally, Matt. I mean, it was me, you, Kevin, Chris, and maybe Wilkin.
Yeah.
And the bartender, who shall remain nameless, but I mean, like, we literally had the place to ourselves.
We had the place to ourselves. It was like having a private club. And then Patrick, because we don't want to get anybody in trouble, they'd keep the place open for us. It'd be 4 a.m. and we were still there. Because we all worked jobs that we were either off on Fridays or we didn't go into work, or we went into work on Tuesday whenever, or we just showed up at whatever, like, in any condition. But that's what we do, and they keep the bar open for us.
But the discount that she provided to us was 80%, 90%. Like, I mean, 1 out of every 6 drinks showed up on the tab or something like that. Like, it was insane at some point. I mean, we would still pay this person to the point of what the tab should have been. She just got it in tips.
She got it in tips, but oh my God, it was amazing.
Yeah.
I will say this though, the fact that we all got, the only reason now that I go to any of these bars, to tell you the truth, is if I go to maybe a cigar bar, which I don't count as a bar, I just count it as a place to go hang out and have a cigar, or if Chris or Mike or Kevin, if somebody's going to see a band, then I'll go to a bar.
I was gonna say, like, I don't really do that I mean, we have like a restaurant at the center of our community that has a bar to it, and the drinks are actually cheap there. So it's like, if I just want to go with like a neighborhood buddy real quick and like, hey, let's go watch the game for like an hour or two.
Yeah.
That's like an exception. But if I'm going out to drink now, it's never like at a bar. It's like I'm going to a football game, and yes, I will have some drinks there. I'm going to go watch a heavy metal show. Of course, I'm going to go have some drinks there. I don't just like.
And I think for you, Chris, right? I mean, not that I'm prying into your personal life, but I see you more like breweries than a bar.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. I probably tend to, if it's not seeing music or bands, friends bands and stuff like that, or a regular concert, it's mainly like breweries and stuff. And I kind of get upset with when they actually have like somebody who is playing music, because it's like, oh, I just want to sit here and talk. I don't want to scream and yell. And that's when usually, the places that are good, they'll have an outside seating where you can actually get away from it and stuff. But yeah, I'd rather prefer to go to a brewery and just hang out and just talk with a couple people, whether it's like a trivia night or something, or just hang out. I'm not into, like, if I want to see a band, I'm going to go see a band. And then when I'm there at a concert, I'm probably not going to be talking to you over the band. We're both there to go see, or whoever we're there with is to see the band. And when the band stops, we start talking. I don't want to have to talk over a guy playing covers all night, screaming my head off.
You don't want to play a guy, playing Stairway to Heaven?
No, I'm good with that.
Good to see you.
God,
I forgot about the microbreweries, Chris. You're right. I have frequented some of those, and exactly the same.
But I really think, I think for the bar aspect of what we were with, I think they're different. I think they're much more laid back. I think they're almost more restaurant-like, because you're sitting at a table. It's not like you're not forced at a brewery to always be standing.
No.
Whereas the majority of the bars that we went to, even to see bands back in, we had to stand.
Yeah.
Unless we went out back, where we ended up going anyway, because we were, us. But yeah, I think it's evolved, and I think and now, I mean, God only knows what's going to happen with bars and drinking now anyway.
Looks like it's normal, what I'm seeing on the news.
Yeah, but I really want to stay 6 feet away from people.
Oh yeah, the smart
just
people.
In general, I don't even care about the disease anymore. I just want 6 feet distance. If I could have had that at the bars, I'd be at a bar every night.
Well, that was just called personal space.
Yeah.
It was before they called it social distancing. Like you said, I didn't want you standing right up against me either. It's called personal space. And and wash your hands and all that stuff. I mean, this has been going on for all of time now. I didn't want you near me 10 years ago.
The only thing the most I'm upset with, and it's what I'm going to close with, what the fuck were people doing with my pizza before this thing broke out? Why now are they telling me they're not putting their hands all over their pizza when it was in the oven? Shouldn't it have just come out of the oven, gone in the box, and they run the thing over it? What? Oh, don't worry. We have contact. What?
Have you not seen how pizzas are made? It comes out of the oven. You got to squish it. And
yeah, hey, Paulie, I'm all done. Hey. Oh, God.
I think the best thing now is, we always tell our kids, hey, get off the technology so much. Stop. now that they told us to stay inside and get on the technology, everybody's like, no, now I'm going to go be social. I'm like, we can't win.
Well, I like the fact that it took all the teenagers to go, you fuckers need to know how to use this now. Okay, here's how it goes. Why isn't my microphone working? The 5-year-old go, no. Press this button here. Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Let's go tie one on. Thank you, Chris, Mike, and of course Patrick. We will be dropping some new content all this week. I don't know what yet. Taking it up as I go along.